Oh, look at everybody show up. Nothing like a good Wednesday afternoon full of fun. How am I today? I am well. Things are good. As good as they can be in the world of the worlds, right? All right. Yeah, FOMC did the exact same thing it did last quarter, right? We all saw the same thing again. My health is good. I'm just actually peeling some oranges right now for myself. That's what I eat. CFA level 1 exam. Ooh, that's pretty good. Yeah, CFA, the level 1 exam supposedly is pretty straightforward. Level 2 gets a little bit more difficult, and then level 3 is like the impossible one because there's like no numbers, it's all just theory. Ted, when you acquire everything you thought you would make you happy, what gives you purpose now? Giving back, being able to help other people. You get to a point where you realize it doesn't matter what you have material wise, it doesn't do anything for you. You know, it doesn't do anything for you. You know, like you can have 10 supercars, whoop de doo. Like, what does it do? The people that aren't fulfilled in life are the ones that have the 10 supercars, that are running around with, you know, like the designer clothes and all that stuff. It's because they need to be validated. When you're actually good at what you do and you're comfortable in your own skin, you don't need validation. Trust me, you don't. I wear $30 shirts, $20 shirts. I don't give a shit. Um, you know, and I think a lot of people, they succumb to that because they think that's going to make them a better person. It doesn't make you a better person. No, trust me. Having a supercar doesn't make you a better person. Having millions of dollars doesn't make you a better person. You have to be a better person mentally and internally first. Um, you know, and I think a lot of people don't realize that is, you know, once you actually start taking care of yourself, where you're eating properly, working out daily, you have a good family, you have good people around you, you'd be surprised. You don't need a lot. You don't need a lot. You know, Raquel's supercar is awesome. You know, it's not as good as mine, but I didn't want to steal his thunder, but I started laughing. I'm like, well, I'm like, uh, only marketing influencers buy used vehicles. Wealthy people buy new ones. But I give all due respect to Raja. He's done great work. Him and I are great friends. I don't like flying. I'm scared shitless of flying, basically. Otherwise, I'd be out in Dubai with him all the time, hanging out. He's the top R. I'm the top T, and together we'll go see the top G. Right? We got a lot of status out in Dubai, um, and you know, so it's pretty cool. Like I said, I still remember having lunch with him in Toronto. He messaged me on Instagram and he's like, "Hey, can we go grab lunch?" And we go grab lunch, and I showed him my trading account at the time with IC Markets and what I was doing, and he's like, "Oh," he's like, "Can I do this?" I'm like, "You can do anything you want, man." I said, "No problem." We had a plate of nachos. I remember that. We were sitting on the patio. It was in the middle of June, I think. We were sitting out there, and we had a plate of nachos. We didn't have any alcoholic drinks. We were just sitting there and talking, and yeah, and the rest is history. You know, like he's got a great family, great kids. His brother's a really cool guy too. You know, he's got a lot of good things going for him. So those are the people, you know, when you look at the way the world works and you look at, you know, the come up of your groups and people, it's really great to see that. I look at everybody who I've sort of impacted in one way or another that's doing big things. You got people like Kerwin, Jeevan, and sometimes Mac even. There's a lot of people out there doing great things, and the best part about that for me as a leader is these guys all give back, right? So there's a brotherhood there that was built based on all the blood, sweat, and tears, right? Where you see a lot of fighting online, you see a lot of drama. People don't stick around with different people. People are always jumping to different groups, and they're always, this person is no good anymore, they're no longer friends. um I can safely say the group that I worked with from day one are still with me right now at day like 3,000. And we're stronger and better. And through the hardships, through the trial and error, through the learning of FX about ourselves, it's like it's like a compound, right? Like it's funny because Andrew Tate came out of nowhere basically and started talking about a lot of these alpha things and the brotherhood and how to respect each other and live that life. um we were we were already doing that as a group. Like we knew that from the get-go. And that was one of the things I preached back in 2016, 2015 was like, hey, you make sure you remember where you come from. And me being a leader and leading other people, I always gave everyone the best opportunities. I never held anybody back. There was people that, and it bit me it bit me as well, right? It bit me in the foot when, there was mentors out there that, I recommended that, ran off, that didn't do what they did. But you can see the quality of people that stuck around, right? Like you're never going to be able to judge every character 100% accurate, right? So when people come into my world, I give everybody equal opportunity and I give people the benefit of the doubt. I want people to be the best they can be. And I will always give you the best of myself to make sure that you do the best that you can do. But some people take advantage of that. Some people don't follow through with their promises. They don't fulfill things. And it looks bad on me. So I get tarnished, I get trolls, I get people who hate on me and all these problems. But all I was ever trying to do was give people that opportunity, that springboard, because they wanted to prove themselves and they want to do that. So now the people that are still here from 2016, 2015, like I look at Jeevan, he created everything out of nothing, right? Capital Hungry was his idea. It was his baby. And, he was working with us and working with me from day one. And it was the same thing where he found something that he wanted to do. And it was like, that's like the top fundamental information. And it's grown over the years just through his hard work. But the best thing that I can say about that is he gives back to everybody. He gets paid for what he does, rightfully so, but there's still that brotherhood where, if Raja does a live stream or Kerwin does a live stream, Jeevan's there. And it's the same thing when Jeevan does a live stream. If I'm available, I go there, I go support, right? And it's not because we want that, clout, or we want that, that time on air, so to speak. But it's just the idea of you support each other, right? You go and you support each other because that's the brotherhood that you have. So it's interesting, like I said, that Andrew Tate brings up that a lot, where he talks about that stuff. We were already doing that for years. I already instilled that. We all have that same mentality where it's like, hey, you don't need fancy this, fancy that. You don't need any of that stuff. What you need is you just need value. You need to be able to provide value, and you're able to do what you do. Oh, Mr. Rocco. Oh, good old Mr. Rocco. He's another person. So I can tell a good story about Rocco because he's in his car right now with his kids. This guy is probably one of my best friends that I never talk to or that I never see. And when I see him, it's like we never didn't see each other for so long. The bond that we have is really funny because we used to play poker together. He used to run a great poker game, but we talked about a lot of deep subjects, a lot of deep things because he knew a lot about the world and he taught me a lot about what's going on. And, I sort of taught him things as well because we came from different circles, but we both had sort of similar ideas, just the way that the world works, the values that you instill in your family, the quality of your partner. His wife's awesome. I met her when they were dating, and it was funny because she used to roll her eyes at him all the time because of how stupid he was. But he's quality, and he's always been that guy who's had a super deep value system. And I think that's what's missing in today's world is we do not have enough men that have deep values, that have core values that, yeah, you're able to, have your fun, you're able to, be that person out there. But when it comes down to it, like when I know Rocco, if somebody needed something from that guy, he was there for them right away, without hesitation. And that's who he was a person. It's just the stand up, the loyalty, those kind of values we miss now in today's society. And that's why everything's so screwed up, is you don't have those loyalty, that value, where you're not necessarily having to see somebody every day, right? Like, this is the thing. Having a friendship and having a good relationship with somebody isn't not, you're not trying to, you don't have to be with them every day. You don't have to engage with them every day. But there's a point where when you work with people and you develop a bond through experiences, through, different events, things of that nature, that people understand that you're busy, you're not going to be able to see them all the time. But it's when push comes to shove, is that person there for you? And that's the greatest part about my life and what I've enjoyed is my circle is very small, but I can go anywhere I need to go. And there's people that I know that if I needed something in a heartbeat, there's no questions asked. It would be done. And that's super important. And I think for people that are on this live right now, if you don't have those people that are in your corner that you can depend on 100%, you need to rethink who you're associated with. And that's super important because you have to realize that life is about that community and that bond and that support system, right? And it's not that you have to see these people all the time. It's not that you have to speak to them all the time, but you know that deep down inside, if there's anything that you needed to do or there's ways to bring them up, you're always thinking about that. And that's truly a key for relationships, especially amongst men, right? I mean, as a trader, most traders right now are male. You're trying to find yourself as a trader. You're trying to be a better person and you're trying to generate income. You're trying to do all that stuff. It's a lonely world. And in business and in success, it's sometimes a very lonely and troubling world. It's not always going to be very comfortable. You're going to be in positions where you're uncomfortable. It's going to be tough, but you always have to make sure you have that original support system where you have people that are able to be connected with you all the time. A lot of people use me as a resource, and I don't mind that at all. I think it's super important that the people that are closest to me, people that I have known for a long time, like as an example, like Rocco, I've known him now for 20 years, right? I may have seen this guy in the last 5 years twice, maybe 3 times. But you know what? Every time I see him, it's like a big, bro hug, handshake, like what's going on? Like, how's life? Everything's good. And it's just you get back all that raw emotion of like the people that you bonded with and that you have that solidarity with. And if you don't have quality people in your life, you really need to build that up and really, get that quality. And that's going to improve everything you do. Like I said, going to the gym, making sure that you're healthy, you're eating well, what you put in your body, how you train your body, all that impacts who you are as a person and what you're going to bring to the table when it comes to your abilities and your success. Let's put it this way: if you're out of shape, you're drinking all the time, you're smoking all the time, you're not eating healthy, don't expect yourself to have success. I'm telling you that right now. It's not going to be long. You're not going to have longevity. You're not going to be able to sustain it because your body's going to fail. And people that are overweight, people that are out of shape, you're going to feel it because you're not going to be able to compete at the highest level. It's super important. Let's see. Raja Supercar. I think Raja Supercar is awesome. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have problems with people buying supercars. You know why I don't have problems with people buying supercars? Because they earned it. I have problems with people using supercars as a tool to say that, hey, the only way that you can be successful is if you have one of these. And that is the challenge, is are you able to buy those items and accept for what they are? And I think a lot of people buy them because they think that's going to give them validation. Raja bought it because he had nothing better to do. I mean, that guy makes stupid purchases all the time. But you know what? He said that a lot. He said a lot of things today where it was just like, hey, I've done everything. He's got homes in multiple jurisdictions. He's got multiple passports. He's got freedom, mobility, right? Think about it. Think about your favorite supercar guru. Where do they go? What do they do? What do they own? They're constantly chasing and validating themselves. They don't have properties all around the world. They're not traveling all the time. They're stuck in one part of their life. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? You can say, hey, you don't need to travel. Ted, you don't travel. That's correct. But I don't show things online to validate myself. I think it's stupid. It's just at this point, it's dumb. Maybe because I'm a little older, but it's like, I like the shit I have. I don't think I need to show it to anybody. And if people see it, it's because they see me in person. And that's the biggest thing, right? So, but like I said, Instagram is a visual tool, right? You see stuff online and you're like, hey, that guy's doing pretty good because he's got like 9 cars. I look at it as, what's the point of having 9 cars? It doesn't do anything for you, And truthfully, when you actually dig deeper into it, when you own a supercar, the only people that care that you own a supercar are people that want a supercar, right? Like, think about 8 billion people in this world. If you went and did like a survey and you said how many people want a supercar, you probably get like 30%. A lot of people don't care for them. They're not as prestigious as you think they are, right? Like, and this is the thing too. Like, if you talk to a quality female, right? If you go to a quality female and you ask them like what their favorite car is, you know what they say to you? Oh, I don't care about cars. You know what females care about? Females care about security. They care about your ability to take care of them. They care about your ability to be a role model for their family if they're looking to have kids. There's things of that nature, right? If you have a quality female in your corner, they don't care what car you drive. I know you find this very, very hard to believe, but women don't give a shit about cars. You know what they care about, really? They care about making sure that you wake up in the morning and you're like doing shit. They care about you actually not being a loser. Okay? They care about you not being a loser. And the women that care about cars and material goods is because they themselves think that they hold value, right? If you ever walked up to a girl that has no value, you know what they turn around and say? They turn around and say, hey, what kind of car do you drive? How much money do you have? You know why? Because they themselves have nothing to offer. When women have something to offer, they don't care about what car you drive, what you own, all that stuff, because you know why? They're getting it themselves. And it's up to you to keep up with them. The smart women in the world, or the women that hold the most value, they care about the stuff that you're doing. Like, where do you work? You know, how are you providing for yourself? How are you building success? How are you building longevity? That's what real women care about. And I'm sorry to point it out to you, but Miami's fake. You know, if you're worried about that, Miami's a fake lifestyle, and the people that are there, you know, you can tell right away. Think about it this way: people, you know, they get all these different surgeries, they get all these things to enhance themselves, to make themselves feel better. How much value do you think they actually have? Right? It's super important to understand the value system. And once you understand the value system, things will be better off for you. And you'll realize that. You'll realize when you go to the club and you see all those girls that, you know, want drinks from you and that are all standing together and, you know, they're all taking their selfies and stuff like that. What value do they give? There are so many good-looking women in this world. There are so many women out there. And like I said, the men are falling for it. Men are falling for it, you know? And it's really funny because of the fact that when you have men that have no value or insecure about themselves, they chase those same women, and it's a vicious circle, and it's actually pretty funny because when I used to go to a club and I used to be out there, women would be all around doing whatever, and it was a joke. They were so impressed by such menial things. I remember I went to a club one time, and there was this guy there, and we got a booth, we had a table. Jeevan was there. Jeevan remembers this, and the bill was I think it was like $11,000 or $10,000. It was something stupid, right? And normally when we go out, I always cover the bill. I did that all the time. Like anytime someone comes out with me, whether we're going to the club or going to like eat, I always try and cover the bill. I think it's a polite thing to do. I grew up that way where it's like, hey, you know, if you invite people out, you treat them. If you have the capacity to treat them, you should. I do that. Obviously, we fight over the bills now. A lot of my friends and we do fight over that. But it was funny because Jeevan and I were standing there, and, you know, Jeevan did well for himself. He knows how well I've done. And these guys didn't know anything about us, but they were brought to us by mutual friends. And, you know, they look at the bill and they're taking videos of me paying the bill with cash. They were so impressed. And it was funny because the next day on Instagram, Jeevan probably remembers this, they posted a picture of the bill as if they had paid it. And we were laughing in our group chat because it was just like, I was the one who paid it. Jeevan watched me pay it, and it was just sort of like he tried to throw me like a couple $1,000s to, you know, pay the bill, and I always tell him, no, you don't need to pay it, I'm covering it. And we were just laughing about that the next day because these guys they work so hard to I guess promote themselves and their lifestyle that they have, where they would show a random bill that they never paid but act like they did. So it was pretty funny there. I want to ask everyone, and please answer honestly, did Uncle Ted change your lifestyle? If yes, put your finger, thumb. I will ask you something else. Oh, I think I've changed a lot of people's lives. Um, so, how's my week going? My week's going good. Um, had 4 losses this week in trades, but I had, I think, 29 or 30 wins this week. I don't know. I have to double check. I think 30. Yeah, I think I had like 30 trades this week, 4 losses, and then 26 wins or something like that. So that's pretty good. Mm. Oh, look at that. I've changed some people's lives. I mean, maybe some for the better and some for the worse. I don't know. Has Sean Lee turned up to your house yet? No. Idea from you. Heard now India banks are using digital currency replacing the rupee. Does that affect the Forex market? It doesn't affect the Forex market because, see, like the simple the simple thing with Forex is the fact that as long as we need, um, you know, currency and we need it for trade, there's always going to be an exchange, and that's what FX is. So whether it's a digital form or a paper form or anything, anytime there's an exchange or a trade because there's an imbalance of value, we're always going to have FX. It doesn't change. Like, I think people forget the reason why FX exists. FX exists because it's foreign exchange. You're exchanging one value, one unit value for another unit value. As long as we always have multiple currencies, there will always be foreign exchange. It's very straightforward. Let's see. Hi, Uncle Ted. Can you talk about why you're trading 2 or 3 sessions in a day now? Thank you so much. Because I wanted to. I, being as good as I am at what I do, I just do what I want now. Like, if I feel like trading at 11:30 in the evening, I can do it. If I feel like trading at 3 a.m. in the morning, I can do it. If I want to trade at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I can do it. There is such a fallacy around that. The ideas that I talk about or that I provide you is so that you do not get overloaded with information and you're able to start slowly, right? Think about it this way. Imagine you're playing football and you go join the NFL today, right? So you're going to play professional football, you join the NFL. You get handed a binder with 400 pages of basic plays, right? You're playing offense or you're playing defense. You got 400 pages to work through. And you've never played football in your life. Imagine how daunting that would be. But imagine if now you go to the NFL and they give you 1 page of assignment, like one page, and it has one play on it, and they tell you, hey, if you run this play, most times you're going to get through and you're going to get a first down. You would master that one play and then graduate to the other plays, right? You wouldn't want to have the whole playbook at once. And that's similar to the way that I've always taught trading is evolutionary, right? You always evolve as a trader. But the restrictions you put on yourself are there to protect yourself. But if you are good at what you do, you don't need restrictions. You can do whatever you want. But the problem is people can't control themselves, right? People go overboard. They lose their mind when it comes to trading. So you don't follow 1 or 2 trades per day? No. If I don't want to do 1 or 2 trades per day, I don't. I don't care. It's not impacting you. right? The way that I trade doesn't impact you, but people can't replicate what I do because you don't have the experience or the background knowledge that I have. You have to learn that first, and then you'll find that, hey, today at FOMC, gold was going up. I'm going to take a buy and I'm going to make some money. Like it's not hard. But if you're constantly worried about your account size, your trades, I don't know where gold's going, I don't understand the fundamentals behind gold, I don't know what's happening here, I haven't traded it enough. Yeah, you don't want to trade FOMC because it's going to burn you. Because when it retraces $4 or $5, you're going to sit there and be like, oh no, what do I do, right? But if you understand it and you trade it and you're comfortable, yeah, you make some money and you're like, hey, that was pretty easy. It was 5 minutes of work. What are your limits on withdrawals with Trader's Domain? There are no limits. How does fundamental translate to trade for US 30? Well, figure out what US 30 is made of, right? What's US 30 made of? Think about that and then go and do some research on what impacts US 30. How to deal with FOMO on a trade. There's no such thing as FOMO. It's lack of preparation. That's where you get FOMO from, because you didn't prepare. Do you have a YouTube channel? Nope. Are you the creator of the Wickful strategy? It looks like that. Yeah, I helped do it. I'm on a boat right now. That's pretty cool. Thoughts on Sam Frodman saying he donated to Republicans? Well, that was an inside job. Do you think we'll have one world currency? Probably soon. Not really right now. Is there a way to learn from yourself or your team? Yeah, just go on YouTube. What pair would you recommend for the London session? Well, think about what money do you use in London, right? This is the simplest equation. What money do you use in London? You use a euro and you use a pound. So think about what pairs you'd want to trade. Where do you see gold going next? It's probably still going up. Let's see what's going on over here. How many pips you consider a win? I consider a win when it's positive. What's the best way to withdraw with crypto crashing? Use Bankwire. What happens if the US dollar fails? Another currency will take over. You've achieved a lot in life, Ted. Care to share some bigger goals you have for yourself? I don't really have any more financial or business goals. They're more personal development now. So, like have a family, live life, do a lot of charity work, do a little bit more impact work, things like that. All right. Is it wrong to learn by yourself and not have a mentor? No, it's fine. I take 1 or 2 trades a day, respect my trading plan, and study every day, but I feel stuck. Well, why do you feel stuck? like that's such a generic statement. So I have 3 meals a day today, and I'm not losing weight. Okay, well, what'd you eat? Right? Like, you gotta be more specific. Do you own Dominion Markets? Nope. Raja does. I overtraded today. I have to get that under control. Yeah, you do. Otherwise, you're gonna blow your account, go into massive depression, and you're not gonna want to trade anymore. So, gotta get that under control. Seems like Raja is applying entering on creation of wick rather than breaking previous candle. Speaking of statistics, is it worth you to know to do it? I don't know. Raja trades the way he wants. Your goal here is, when someone's showing you what they do, is not to copy, is to analyze what they're doing, evaluate it, and try and apply the knowledge. and see if it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, that's fine. There's no point of racking your head or banging your head against the wall to figure out why it's not working for you. It's just not working. Give up. But try and look at something that someone's doing and see how you can apply your own knowledge or your own sentiments to that, right? Can you show me what your trading approach was for today? Yeah. So the daily candle printed a low. As it started to go bullish, I took buys. And I looked for targets to the left before a wick where we had a complete clean traffic area. And I closed at those positions. I feel stuck because my account does not grow. It stays the same. Well, yeah, because you're not looking at your winners close enough and you're having too many losers. In your opinion, is it technical or a fundamental approach that works best in trading? You have to use technicals and have fundamentals drive your technicals. So you need both. What are you eating this evening? I'll probably have some chicken. It'll still take 20 days to withdraw on TD. Yep. I get the direction, but I get stopped out. Any advice? Yeah. Take a look at where you get stopped out and look to the left and ask yourself why you got stopped out there. Are you selective when you get several setups? I don't consider things setups. I look at overall direction. If all time frames match my direction, I take a position. And I look to the left and I look to see where the next target would be. Right? So essentially what you look at is you say to yourself, you say, okay, based on the current candle, if I was the current candle going in the opposite direction of the previous candle, where would I want to end up? And I would look for targets to the left, right? So if we're bullish and to the left of us, we have a lot of bearish candles, your targets would be maybe the top of those bodies of those candles, maybe the end of the wick of those candles. You have to evaluate what makes the most sense. But most likely, price always returns to previous areas, right? So if you can understand that concept, as you trade, you can now extrapolate that information and say, okay, this 15-minute candle finished at area 4. Chances are it's going to go to area 5, right? And then when you look at the hour candle, you can see that there's like area 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now you can extend that period and say, okay, because we passed into area 5, looking at the hour time frame, I see that we can go even further, and we're going to possibly go to number 10. So I'll move my stop and allow it to run that far, right? Let's see. What happens if it's been over 20 business days for withdrawals? It seems like everyone's supported on vacation. People aren't on support. People aren't on vacation. We're in the process of like training a bunch of people, so it's a massive headache. Let's put it this way. It's not very fun right now in the land of Traders Domain, but we're getting over it. We have a whole platform coming out in 2023, which we're building right now. Resources are everywhere. It's a madhouse. And let's put it this way. It's not a fun time for me either, but we'll get through it. I seen this current stage of Traders Domain is like how it was in like 2016, 2017, when everything was starting out. It's like we're restarting again and everything's just all over the place. So I give it like another couple of months. We'll get everything back on track and we'll be well positioned for the new year and the next few years. Traders Domain is going to be 7 years old next year. That's crazy to think about. It's been around for 7 years. That's insane, isn't it? Let's see. Can you delete trades on a real account if you run a broker to make it look like you never get losses? Nope, you can't do that because you get audited and you will lose your license to use that software. So you can't. Since we're bullish on daily structure on gold, have you strictly only focused on buys? Yep. I've only taken buys. Out of 26 trades, how many pips are you catching on average? Usually anywhere between 5 to 30 pips on those trades. How much pride do you feel about being a big part of changing Raja's trading career? It's normal, right? Like the thing is, you give someone a little bit of assistance, and they run off and build something great. I'm proud of him because he took the initiative. He did all the work. I gave him a bit of information. He ran with it. He expanded on it. He got better. He did everything. It's all on him. You can tell people everything till they're blue in the face, but he is his own success because he took it upon himself to make sure that he was successful. Ted, can I trade live with you tomorrow? Yeah, just wake up between the hours of 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. and execute based on the current daily structure. Thank you, Ted. You've made me a lot of money on Trader's Domain. Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad you're happy about that. I think I've made like about 1,000 or 1,500 people millionaires this year, which is pretty crazy to think about, but it's all good. Which time frame do you enter the majority of your trades? Usually like the 5-minute or 15-minute time frames. What's my weekly percentage gain on average? About 3 to 5%. Do you think one trade per day can be the way to be a successful trader? Sure. Can you hire me to be on the support team? I don't know how much more people we're going to hire, but yeah, we're not looking at that. Please tell me you're revamping the TD website. Yeah, we are. I still remember your first post of a lion. It was a tiger, but yeah, we're good. Who is my mentor? No. What's your usual stop loss? I don't really have one because I'm trading in the direction of the trend. I don't like stop losses are there to protect your account. I look at more of a risk management where I'm risking, anywhere from 0.25% to 1% per trade. That's all I'm risking. So you can have a varied movement there and it doesn't impact you. I think a lot of people can't handle that. They want like a predetermined stop loss, take profit, where I'm very fluid. There's some trades I only get like 3 pips. There's some trades I get 30 pips, right? I'm not concerned about, the stop part. I'm concerned about sort of the range in which I'm trading in. I can trade in a range of 10 pips. I can trade in a range of 100 pips. The idea is I'm always trading with the trend. So if I'm doing that, I should always be successful or successful 90% of the time. All right. What's my average risk to return? Sometimes it's negative. Sometimes it's like 1 to 10. Sometimes it's like 1 to 3. Sometimes I get out by the skin of my teeth. It's trading. I think those kind of statistics, yes, they're important, but you can't marry those ideas, right? Because I can do a 1 to 10 risk to reward trade and get 10 pips. And basically it's because I traded off the 5-minute time frame. I looked at a 5-minute support that matches up with a 15-minute support, and I rode a 5-minute candle up just before a 15-minute candle closed. And I was able to get 15 pips, and I have like a 1 to 10 risk to reward. But it was only 15 pips, right? So when you start looking at that, your risk to reward can be all over the place. 1 to 15 is nothing because I only got 15 pips or 10 pips, right? Where people say, oh, 1 to 15 could be like 1,000 pips, right? So it's all based on sort of the structure of the market at that point. Can it potentially take longer than 20 days? Yeah, it could. Are you trading in December? Yep. Who would you rather see in a trade-off, ICT or Sean Lee? I don't care for either of them. The only thing that I have to say about Sean Lee is he is a very good trader when when things are going well for him, because he's able to compound accounts, but he loses his shit because he does too many drugs. You should show how you execute on a chart. Well, if you look through my Instagram page, if you go on Raja Banks' YouTube channel, you will see a lot of times I gave a full analysis and breakdown of how I executed trades. I've led people trading live. I've executed live. I've given all that information. You just have to go find it. It's tiring repeating the same thing when there's like 400 videos on Raja Banks' YouTube that talk about how I execute. And I've given breakdowns to like a 5-minute breakdown, a 30-minute breakdown, 15-minute breakdown, hour breakdown. I've done all that already. You guys are just not doing the homework. It's sad. It's sad that I have to come on here and be like, oh, can you show us a chart? Can you show us the trades you took? There is so much information about how I trade on the internet. If you took literally a weekend and went through Raja Banks' YouTube page, you would know my strategy inside and out. It would be so straightforward, and all you'd have to do is practice it. Do all time frames have to be trending in the same direction for you to take a trade? Yes. How do you know when to exit if you have a 1 to 10 risk to reward in mind? I don't have a 1 to 10 risk to reward in mind. Like, this is the thing. Like, my trading is very fluid. I have targets to the left, right? So think about it this way. If there is a candle and it's now gone to the downside, right? Let me get a piece of paper, because this is like very, very elementary stuff that people aren't understanding. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I don't understand why people don't understand. Let's see. All right. Okay, so I'm going to give you some basic information about stuff here. Okay? All right. Here's our piece of paper, right? So here's okay, how am I gonna do this? Okay, so I'm not gonna draw a computer screen. I'll just draw like a chart, right? So here is a candle, right? So here's a candle. This candle is going down, right? So, you know, it has this kind of thing doing something like this, right? So this could be your 15-minute time frame, right? This is like 10 pips. This is like 5 pips. This is like 5 pips. Okay? Now, you draw your little support line like this. That's our support line. Okay, so now we have this thing happen here, and we have this huge tail like this. So this candle like went through here, and now it's bouncing to the upside, right? So we see this happening. So now, what do we look at first of all? This area over here, right? That's a zone, right? So we know that if we want to do proper stop loss placement, we'd have to place our stop loss below here, right? That's pretty accurate. Is this correct? So we know this. The idea is market moves in waves. So the market has gone down this way, and now we're going back up this way, right? So now we look to the left and we say to ourselves, we say, okay, where is a target? So if this is support, right? This is support over here. This candle's formed. Our next candle now dips down into this zone, right? Because we said this is a zone, and it looks like this, and it starts to go up. Where would our first target be if we look to the left? Right over here, right? Because chances are this is going to mirror this clean traffic here. So that's 5 pips. If we enter in over here, we don't have a need for a stop loss because the candle is moving up right over to here, right? Now that we know that, we can say, okay, if it hits our take profit area right over here really quick, or it moves there really fast, where would our next targets be? Probably over here, right? Because there's a rejection area here, there's a rejection area here. So chances are this candle, will then go up, right? So it's gone up into this area here. And then what it looks like afterwards is it looks like this, right? Because this section of the candle now matches up with that original liquidity area over here. So now that we have that, we say, okay, this is pretty much now support, right? So this is 5 pips maybe. This is maybe 1 pip or maybe 2, right? Let's make it 2. So now what you do is you say to yourself, okay, how is the next, and this is 15-minute time frame, how is our next 15-minute candle going to form, right? Now, if I'm going to enter, I want to enter over here or over here, because the next 15-minute candle, chances are, is going to pull down, create a wick, right? Look like this, and then start to drive up. As it drives up, order execution, and what we're looking at is we're going back to our main chart over here, and this becomes our next target. So now we have 5 pips going over here. And now suddenly the candle forms up over here. So now you can see if you had taken the trade down here, your next candle finishes over here basically. You can probably move your stop loss to here, or maybe move it over here, because this next candle is going to probably print down and then drive up, right? And then now suddenly your stop loss is here. But more importantly, when you're over here, you can place an order over to this side here and allow it to go up, where you don't need to worry about your stop loss because you haven't taken a market order. You've waited for that candle to essentially form this, where we're starting to go in an uptrend, where the liquidity over here has been grabbed already. So this area here, chances are, if we're bullish, we're not going to return there. So I can take an order over here, anywhere in this area here, and my stop loss can be below here, and I can just continue to ride it up. And what I can do then afterwards with that is I can then turn around and say 4 times 15, so 15-minute candles, right, equals 1 hour. So we know that. So now what I can do is I can turn around and I can go into my hour time frame, and I can see now my hour candles are bigger, right? Bigger wicks driving down. And now when we're going up, we know that this is an hour candle going up. And we know that the next hour candle can drive into this area here. So we know that this next hour candle can pull all the way down into this area here and then start to drive up further here. But where is it going? It's going into this area here and eventually into this area here. But on our smaller time frames, our 15-minute candles are looking like this. You have the first 15-minute candle is bearish. The second 15-minute candle goes up. The third 15-minute candle continues, and then the fourth finishes, right? Or it'll pull back down just a little bit, right? But the idea is, if you're watching, you just have to wait for this candle to form sort of that little tiny tail, this tail here, and then start to take it up. Okay? And it says, I know, bro, but pacing stop loss below previous candle, sometimes it takes you out. That's where you don't need to do that. You don't need to place a stop loss below the candle. You wait to see the candle form and then you execute afterwards. Because if you have this much liquidity to the downside, why is this candle suddenly going to flip and go that way? Right? Why do we think we're going to do that? If we have momentum and we're moving up this way, why are we coming back down here? That's just stupidity, right? Think about it. Unless there's something to the left over here, and this is where it gets complicated, so we'll look over here. This is what you want to avoid, right? So this is your candle, and there's a huge wick going to the downside, right? And as we start to go up, we're starting to move up, we drive into this area here. That is a very dangerous area because now this is where this wick or this candle that's supposed to drive up can reverse instantly because you're at a very, very big zone, big liquidity zone across here. So when you see that happening, you have to exit over here before this massive wick, right? So all these things that I just explained, I've talked about thousands and thousands of times of where to place targets, where to pick your trades. And if you noticed, I wasn't worried about my risk to reward. I wasn't worried about my stop loss. I wasn't worried about, how many pips it was. I was looking at market structure and I was saying, where is a target that I could achieve based on the current candle structures? So based on where the candles are and the traffic onto the left, where are my targets? And are those targets achievable? And then I can execute on that and I can allow trades to run. And what you'll see is on an hour candle or a 15-minute candle, maybe there's like a 40 or 50 pip target. You can easily get like 10 pips, 20 pips out of that, right? What if price grabs liquidity and never goes back in my trade direction? Well, there's a reason for that. You have to analyze multiple time frames. So you'll know that when you hit a daily level or a 4-hour level, there could be a massive rejection. These are simple things, okay? These are very simple topics that you guys overcomplicate. The higher the time frame, the more violent the zone, okay? The smaller the time frame, the easier that zone will break, okay? In momentum. Okay, this is what you have to understand. When you hit a daily zone, if it's going to reject, it's going to reject very, very hard. If it's going to pass through that zone, it's going to go through there like lightning. It's going to go really quick. Okay, you have to understand those concepts. And these are things that you can look on your charts and you can see that happening. You can look at a daily wick and you can say, how was that daily wick formed? And you'll see there'll be a 15-minute candle or there'll be an hour candle where there was a massive rejection. You have to watch out for those. Those are simple things that you're paying attention. If you have to, on your screen, open up multiple time frames and watch 4 time frames at the same time so you can see this information. It's very, very straightforward. This is not complicated. I don't trade complicated. I trade caveman style. Very, very simple. Okay? You have to look to the left and see where your targets are. And do those targets make sense? That's it. That's all you're doing. Okay? So yeah. And that's my education lesson for today. Do you respect zero to empire? It's not a matter of respecting someone or not respecting someone. I trade according to my style. I've built my ideas based on my testing, based on my experimentation. That's what I did. I created a path for myself that made me comfortable. Okay? That's what you guys have to do with trading, and I don't understand why you're so scared to do it. Why are you afraid to test things and break them and rebuild them? Like, why are you afraid? Why are you afraid of making mistakes? Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Don't be afraid of experimenting. Figure out what works for you and do that. Like, just really be smart about this. Okay? Enjoy.